Welcome back, everyone, to another Civilization 5 scenario playthrough with your boy, some random person. Uh-oh. Sorry, there was something on my keyboard. Let's get that out of there. There we go. Alright. Anyway, back on track. So, I'm gonna be saying, we've done Korea, we've done Mongolia. What else is there to do? Well, we are going to do probably at least one of my favorite ones, probably honestly the best scenario there is in Civilization 5, and one of my favorite ones. That's right, we're playing the American Civil War. And, of course, we're going to be playing as the Union. Now, there are two reasons for this. One, because, the Union, come on, it's the Union. Union's based, right? Right? Good old march down to Georgia, you know? But also, I think the Union version, the playing as the Union, it's a lot harder than playing as the, Rebel Yell. I didn't even know that was their, thing. Because, so, the Union's a lot harder, in my opinion, or it's a lot more, I would say, challenging, because I'm not gonna lie. The southern scenario, it's not that bad because, for reference, you're going to see on the map, and when we get to it, I'll show you why. The objective of this of the victory condition, I should say, of this scenario, is to basically get the opponent's capital, as you can see, before time runs out. And it's a certain amount of turns. And you'll see all that fluff when we get to the next screen. But yeah, so the capital for the Union is a lot closer, to the Confederates. The Confederates can easily, if you play as the Confederates, you can easily get to the capital. It's almost right next door. I think there's maybe a few cities in the way, and then you're there. When you play as the Union, their capital is all the way down, south, literally. I forgot what their capital is. Richmond, yeah, Richmond. Richmond's a lot further down than Washington, D.C. So it's not as easy for the Union, and I thought it would just be more fun to play the Union. I don't know, I just think the Confederates would be a little bit easier. We are going to be playing on Emperor difficulty today. I know. I'm messing up my words. I apologize for that. Because last time we played on, I know for Mongols we played on Prince, but there was a reason for that. You guys saw that scenario came down to the wire. So that's why I played on Prince. Sorry. If you want to watch a deity playthrough, I'm not the guy to do it. But I think we did King for Korea, and that was fun, but I thought it could have been a little bit more challenging. So we're going to try Emperor, and maybe I'll get my ass kicked. We'll see, but, I'm him. I play Civ. I'm a natural.
April the 12th, 1861. Confederate mortars opened fire on Fort Sumter in Charleston Harbor, signaling the start of America's Civil War. President Abraham Lincoln issues a call for volunteers for 90-day enlistments, confident that the rebellion can be put down in short order. Jefferson Davis, newly elected President of the Confederate States, is equally optimistic. Davis boldly moves his government to Richmond, Virginia, just 100 miles from Washington, D.C. Can you win the swift victory both sides are predicting? Or will this war test if a nation conceived in liberty can long endure?
Thank you, narrator. Excuse me, sorry. But yeah, so again, we just have to take Richmond. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, we have the Anaconda plan, so only military engineers and Union land units can embark in this scenario. We have frigates, and we have, monitor? A PC monitor? No. But yeah, so we do get this fort, which is kind of nice, but we only really have 2 soldiers defending it. But you'll see, now that I take you to the map, yeah, it's 50 turns. I just love this scenario, because it almost the reason why I love this scenario so much is it's just battling. There's nothing else really And like this is like the perfect scenario if you're playing like a war civ or something, you know, like, or I'm sorry, if you're like a player who plays like conquering like games in civ, like this is the perfect scenario for you. I love this scenario. It's basically just war. It's a versus mode. Honestly, I wish this mode was kind of like a multiplayer mode. Like I kind of wish that like I've talked about this before, but imagine if some of these scenarios were multiplayer. Like this scenario would be great for multiplayer. I think it'd be so fun. There might be some balancing changes because, like I said, you're about to see right here, Fairfax, right? Look at how close it is to Washington. It's literally like you just have to take Alexandria, and then you're there. I do think the Union has more soldiers and all that, so that's the thing. But it's not really that hard, at least in my opinion. But Richmond's all the way down here, and you only have 50 turns to do it. So. But anyway, enough stalling. Let's get into it. So, good old, got a lot of, yeah, I think we got, like, Pennsylvania, some Delaware, you know, Virginia. It's mostly just East Coast. I think, there is, like, a Western theater partially. Yeah. Nothing too I said Berg because I saw Harrisonburg and Lynchburg, so that's why I said that. But nothing too crazy. Like, it doesn't show you the entire U.S., which is fine, because this is where majority of the fighting, I guess, took place. Like, for the Civil War, obviously there was a Western theater in the war, but that one isn't talked about as much as the Eastern theater, for obvious reasons. This one was a lot more prevalent with stuff, so a lot more shit was going on here. A lot more battles. And look at that, we already spot the enemy. So, we're definitely going to go at Fairfax first. Fairfax is definitely going to be our first target. Irvin McDowell. McDowell. We do have a navy. We're probably just going to send him down here. I believe, excuse me, that the, what are they? The Confederates gets, no, I was going to say submarines. No, they get, oh, they get ironclads, yeah. So, we have to watch out for that. Just gonna have to get them across. Leesburg, Fredericksburg, Martinsburg. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know if it would really be worth it to go after like Martinsburg or. Because where is Richmond? Richmond's down there. I'd maybe go after Martinsburg, but I don't know if I really want to fight on this western field. I feel like we just really have to funnel our troops through Fairfax, and we just got to keep on going down south, eventually hit Fredericksburg, and then eventually get to Richmond. So I think that's what the plan's going to be. That is the plan. Leesburg, I think we'll take out Leesburg, and we'll take out Martinsburg. A lot of burgs. Oh, Frederick, the rival of Fredericksburg, for those who don't know. They've had beef. But yeah, we're just gonna go after Leesburg here, and then we'll quickly swap over to Martinsburg. But again, I don't really know if we would need to push any further. At that point, I think we just need to defend. We might lose Cumberland, but I don't see a point in defending it, in my opinion. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it would kind of be a waste of resources to do that. So I'm not going to do that. Let's see. Let's get our navy down here. We were just going to hold on to this fort, honestly. We're going to set up defensive positions, and we're just going to hold on to this fort. Oh, here they come. Oh, way down south in the land of traitors. Any of you know that Union-Dixie? Because there's regular Dixie, but then there's Union-Dixie. I think it's like an entire album made by a guy, and I'm pretty sure it's just a bunch of Civil War songs. I forgot what it's called. If I remember, I'll let you guys know. But it's a really, if you literally just look up Union-Dixie, it's a banger. It is a certified banger. You gotta listen to Union-Dixie. You have to. It's the, it would be called the oh, what is it called? Why can't I remember it? The first ever diss track. There you go. Well, not the first ever, but it was a diss track for the South. So technically speaking, but yeah. going? Yeah, you just head on over there, Buster Brown. Sure. Leesburg. Move them in, boys. Move them in. Oh, wow. That's a lot of boys. Defensive positions. We got to hold Harper's Ferry. Which I believe was like a... Wasn't that like a battle? A battle took place there, right? That sounds... Harper's Ferry sounds familiar. Sounds like there was definitely some shenanigans going on in Harper's Ferry. We got to take Fairfax, of course. Oh, I can shoot Fairfax. Oh, wow, that's a lot of damage. A lot more damage than I was going to do. Yeah, I think there's, like, special conditions and stuff. You can see, like, the defenses. So, because, again, there's a lot of cities here. It's a lot of ruling and fighting, so. All right, eventually I do get more generals, I believe. So we're just going to hold here. We're not going to attack. We're going to fortify. Yes, technology. Rifled cannon, sure. Right? Artillery, I think, is the name of the game, right? As of right now. Hold, men, hold. Our good old Musketmen. Alright, Leesburg. You've had it good for too long. Down with General Lee. General Grant and Sherman are the goats. Those are the people that will lead us to victory. Did they just leave their cannon wide open? Why am I not doing damage to it? I should be doing a lot more damage now. There. Alright, so that was actually a good take for us. Can I defend with 2? I don't know. Cavalry's kind of useless, I'm not gonna lie. I'll pull back 1 troop. Again, but I don't even know. Maybe I just skip Martinsburg. I really don't see a point in taking it, I'm not gonna lie. Oh man, yeah, this artillery does work. Puts in the work and the hour. Alright, they do have the advantage. Let's get you boys back here. Get you nice and safe. Give you some warm soup. Hold you in the back line. Move our cannons up. We gotta be careful though, I think. We'll keep on moving up. We do have the numbers advantage. We should. I believe we do. Can I even reach? No. Okay, so you're just gonna keep on heading down. Down south to the fort. Any eyes on the fort? No. Doesn't look like any enemy from Williamsburg is coming. It's kind of weird that they give you this fort, I'm not gonna lie. I guess it's supposed to be kind of like a distraction for the South if you ever play as the South. But it's only 2 units. The fort is actually well defended. Oh my god, sorry. I'm so, like, gassy with my chest. Apologize. But, yeah. I guess it sits there for a reason. You can start heading down, definitely. These guys, I'm gonna pull... Yeah, I'll bring the cavalry divisions. I feel like having cavalry on the western... I say western theater. The western front, I'll say, is probably better. No. Not Hagerstown. Ah, those dang Europeans. Not Joe Johnson. I don't know who that is. It's probably an important dude. Take him out, boys. Oh, I can't even attack. I was like, attack, and they couldn't. Sure, hold there. Let's get this cannon down there. Oh my god, they really are going for it. Look at this. That's our Hagerstown. That cannon moved quickly. What? That's crazy how fast that cannon moved. Go in the forestry. That's what we need you. Maybe I do pull back another troop. I don't know. They actually might take that city, I think. I might lose Hagerstown. Not looking good on the western front, guys. Not looking good. Yeah, let's just get another infantry division. What are you doing in Baltimore? Come on. Get your ass to the front line. We'll probably have New York draft riots. Is New York even on the map now? It's like Pennsylvania. New York draft riots. We're a real thing. You know? Actually, I don't know. Is that an event? I feel like it should be an event. like maybe recruiting population or something like that. I don't really know how you tell that for this game, but like production of units. Because for those who don't know what the New York draft riots were, basically they were this riot, obviously in New York, and you know, it was to get drafted to the Civil War for the Union, and a lot of people. Well, the main controversy was it was. I am so sorry. I really cannot speak. I'm tired. It's actually late at night for me. So, but the main controversy with the New York draft riots was because if you were of upper class, you could actually basically buy your way out. Like if you had enough money, you could buy your way out of serving. Like you know, like if they called you to war, basically, if they're like, hey, you have to go fight, you could be like, nah, here's some money or whatever, and you could do that. You could actually do that. And obviously in New York, it was a mix of cultures, you know. A lot of immigrants came over, Irish immigrants, at the time. I mean, Gangsters in New York, great movie, you should watch it. It has the New York draft riots in it. It really shows what happened. And yeah, the people were just mad. They were mad because it's like, why do we have to serve when people like just buy their way out of it? It's almost like basically buy their way out, like of the draft. And it caused an uproar, and there was basically New York was, I think it was like for a few days too, the riots went on. Like the National Guard had to be called in. I don't know if there was a National Guard at the time, but yeah, it was bad. Like there were a lot of crimes were committed. So wow, I do nothing to these troops. That's crazy. Fall back, men. Hagerstown is lost. Over here. Yeah, so it's a little info for you, a little lore dump on the Civil War. Civil War is one of my favorite periods in American history. I love learning about it. There's a YouTuber, I'm sure if you are a big history buff, I'm sure you guys know. His name is Anton Shay, and he has Checkmate Lincolnites, which I think is one of the best series about the Civil War, and it goes into a lot of details about it. He talks about a lot of topics, controversial topics, you know. I guess controversial in the in the public eye, you know. I wouldn't really consider it controversial. I could see how someone would say his takes are controversial, but to me personally, I don't think he is controversial. You know, I think he's just telling history, and he's telling it from his perspective, and that's the way he wants to tell it, and that is completely fine, you know. You don't have to agree with him, but he's telling it how it is, and I respect it for it. So, and his videos, are for whether or not you agree with him or not, or whatever, you know, he says. I mean, his he goes into detail a lot about the Civil War, just in general, about knowledge, and he's very factual too. It's not like he's just pulling shit out of his ass, you know. He basically goes into the Lost Cause myth, you know, which that's a whole nother thing. You know, I don't want to get into the whole thing, but basically it's like the war was not about slavery, it was about you know, states' rights or whatever. And I guess that can be argued from a perspective, but you cannot use that as the catalyst, you know. You can't, if you want to say it's about states' rights, you can definitely say that. There definitely maybe is stuff that is involved with states' rights, 100%. But you cannot ignore the fact that the Civil War, and this is the unfortunate truth about it, even though it is you know, learning about it, I enjoy learning about it. Unfortunately, it does have a dark history, and that was the war was really about slavery, and it is unfortunate that a country basically was led to civil war because of slavery, but it really is the truth. I mean, that's what happened. You know, I'm sure there were other things, but the main sticking point, it was slavery, and there's no real way of getting around that. I don't really think there's a way of arguing that. You know, I'm sure there are other points. I'm sure there are, but I don't know. I personally agree that yes, it was about slavery, and it is unfortunate, you know. And I get it, you know. And even Anton Che goes into it like, as someone, like if someone was from the South, you don't want to see your ancestors in that light, and it would be terrible, obviously. But that was the truth about it, you know. And that, I mean, but that's the good thing, is that thank God, we are not in an era like that anymore, you know. We are in the 21st century, so, and things have moved on from that, you know. From those days, so days of slavery. But yeah, sorry if it, like, we got into, like, you know, the darkness of the Civil War, but that is the truth about it. But, you know, again, you can discuss the Civil War, and, you know, you can try to avoid slavery. You really can, but it's almost impossible, you know. Again, I like looking at the Civil War, like, militaristically, you know, like, again, like, this is basically, like, the military behind it, you know. Like, you know, the battles, the generals, that's what I loved about it. So I love learning about that. But, I mean, yeah, you have to acknowledge it. You have to acknowledge that, yes, there was slavery, and it was unfortunate. But we're gonna, you know, just wanted to mention it, and just get on to the military aspect of it, because that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing right now. Oh, we already researched rifle cannons. Awesome. Yeah. So, big hitters, you know, for the Civil War. Obviously, they got Robert E. Lee leading the South. Good old Robert E. Lee. Mostly, I mean, I don't want to say overrated general, but now he was a good general. He was a good general. But, you know, it is kind of weird. Like, I actually brought this up because when we were taught in school about, like, the Civil War and everything like that, while yes, the North generals were not as competent as the South, in a lot of regards. Like, there were a lot of scenarios. Oh my God, I forgot what his name was. It's not this guy, is it? But there was, like, one Union general who didn't want to attack, even though he outnumbered, like, the Confederates, like, 5-1, and we wanted more men. He actually ran for president against Lincoln. So yeah, there were incompetent, like, Union generals. Like, don't get that wrong. Like, there 100% were. Wow, they are really attacking my western flank, huh? Wow. I didn't think they were gonna be this predominant. I'm just surprised because they're kind of leaving themselves open here. Like, I'm kind of just sauntering on through. Listen, I'm willing to lose ground over here. I just really got to protect Washington. Man, I'm just shocked. Wow. There's, like, so many. Yeah, but we got good old Robert E. Lee. Stonewall Jackson, which probably has to be the stupidest way a general ever died. You know, Stonewall was probably considered one of the best generals the Confederates actually had. And the way he was killed, well, he was gunned down by his own men because they thought he was a Union soldier. A single Union soldier approaching their camp. Now, obviously, I might be fudging some details there, but still, his death is really stupid. Like, really, really stupid. It is, like, him dying, there was almost, like, no reason for him to die. But yeah, they were like, oh my God, it's a Union soldier riding up on our camp, you know, alone in the middle of the night. Yup, 100%. Definitely not just one of your generals. And that's how he died. And it was actually a really big deal for the South because he was basically, Robert E. Lee is always considered the #1 general for the South, and Stonewall was always considered #2, and they basically lost their #2. So, yeah, that's bad. You lose your #2 general. Some would even consider him better than Lee. You know, at the time, he was good. He was a good general. You know, I'm sure there are other generals from the South. I can't really remember. I know they teach you about Stonewall. They teach you about Robert E. Lee in school. I'm trying to remember if I can remember any from Anton Shay's videos, because he does go into detail about some of them, and actually does point out some competent Confederate generals, besides Lee and Stonewall, who are like praised and glorified, like almost like raised to a level of godhood. It's actually kind of weird. He actually goes into detail about that. But yeah, I can't really remember anyone else. I'm sure I'm missing some, but yeah. And obviously the Union, good old Grant the Butcher. Good old Grant. Sure, we need defenses in the capital. So Grant was obviously a big deal. Wow, cavalry really fucking sucks, guys. Like, holy shit, man. Cavalry does nothing. That's crazy. Yeah, obviously you got Grant. Oh my god, who was the guy who led the Battle of Gettysburg? Why can't I remember his name? I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, but I know he like took over. Like the Union went through so many generals that like they were just like, you know, trying to figure out like, okay, who can actually lead the Union army competently. And eventually, and even the guy who led the Battle of Gettysburg, I don't think he was like the best suited anyway, but hey, he did his job and he won. So got to give him some respect, right? Again, I apologize for forgetting his name, and I really should know this because I've seen like almost all the Anton Shay videos about like the Civil War, and he's an expert on it, and I'm not saying I'm an expert on it, you know. Unfortunately, Civil War is not my expertise. I do find it interesting. Again, it is one of my favorite parts of history, but I'm more of a Roman guy, especially like the fall of Rome. Fall of Rome, I mean, really any time of Rome, honestly. Obviously, the Punic Wars, love the Punic Wars. The fall of Rome, the rise of Rome, its origin story, that's all cool to me. So, yeah. I usually, again, the history that I like usually has to do with military history, usually has to do with battles, wars. That's what I like to learn about, and usually even just the rise of civilizations too, like how certain civilizations became to be, you know. I think that's really cool and interesting to learn about. So at least one of my favorite things about history. I'm so sorry. I really didn't think there was gonna be that much of a push. Like, I'm actually just surprised. I'm surprised there's such a big push coming from the Confederates. I did not think they were going to push that far. Oh wow, there's a lot of boys here. It's going to be a big battle over Culpeper? Culpeper, right? That's Culpeper. It's got to be Culpeper. Move in, lads. Move in. Get ready to hold the position. We got the manpower. We can, you know, and there you go, Grant the Butcher. So we'll get into him, why he's called Grant the Butcher. Let's just say that his military tactics, you know, was he smart? Yes, in the regard that he knew he had the manpower. Was it effective? Yes, it was effective. Was it cruel? Could definitely be argued that it was cruel because a lot of people did die. I mean, the Union had a lot of casualties. Usually, in most battles, I think the Union had a lot more casualties than the South in most battles, just purely because of, and even battles that they would win, just because, I mean, they knew they had the manpower. Like, they could spend, and I know it sounds awful, but it's the same thing with the Soviets in World War II. It sounds awful, but they have the manpower. Like, they have the technology, they have the manpower. They're going to use that manpower, and it is an unfortunate reality of it that, yeah, they just, and I'm not saying they just threw them to the wolves or anything, but there were a lot of, you know, Union battles where they would win, even when they would win, a lot of heavy casualties just because, unfortunately, their generals weren't the best, I mean, according to schools at least. I mean, it can actually be argued that Union generals were technically like better. You know, I could definitely see like some people arguing that Union generals were actually like Like some Union generals were better than Confederate generals, and like of course there were, but obviously there were some Confederate generals who were better than Union generals, you know. So it was a mix of, you know, on both sides. So, but they both had good soldiers, they both had bad soldiers, both had good generals, both had bad generals. That's just, you know, war. You can't have all your good generals in one area, unfortunately, right? You know. But yeah, it is weird because usually when we learned about the Civil War in history class, we're taught that, like, you know, South has a lot of had like the best generals, which definitely, I mean, I can see it, yeah. But you know, I mean, I think you have to give the Union some credit, you know. Like obviously, it just wasn't manpower. It wasn't just them throwing, you know, people at the South, you know. Like they did have competent generals, you know, they did. But you know. That's that. So, but yeah, again, I can't really remember too many details about, like, the story. I probably should have, like, watched a bunch of Anton Shea videos before playing this scenario to, you know, be a little bit accurate with what I'm saying. But I'm sure I fudged some stuff. That's okay. No one watches, you know, at least right now, no one watches these videos anyway, so I apologize if I have gotten any Civil War facts for any Civil War history buffs and I have offended you. I am sorry. It's not my expertise. I apologize. I am truly sorry. Yep. But yeah, we're moving down towards Richmond, Virginia, so that's cool. Yeah, let's just build this, and we will build that, and we will build that. Yeah. And I think that's where we are going to call this video for now. So, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.